my name is Dual, that's D-U-A-L, and that's short from dualism or duality. And it's the idea that every day I wake up and I journey through this world that's divided down the middle into like a black and white, positive, negative. And also at the time of creating this moniker, I held a regular job making coffee. And then at nights I would transform into Dual and go out and put up the artwork on the street and make artwork. So I kind of had this feeling of dual personality. So that's kind of the creation of the name. So originally what got me back into art is actually graffiti, like seeing a bunch of just illegal graffiti on the streets. I actually took a trip to Amsterdam in late 1999 and I'd never seen so much graffiti on any possible surface you could think of, like any wall, any like sculpture, statues, like glass, trains, everything was covered in it. So I come back to Houston and I immediately start noticing graffiti, specifically one name, like Next, N-E-X-T. And I was like, this is one guy like going around painting his name. I'm like, I'm one guy, I want to draw letters and paint. So I just started doing graffiti. Like no clue at all like what the rules were, how to do it. It was like horrible and ugly at first. And then eventually the more that I did it, I would start to hang out at hip hop venues where you would meet other writers, like other graffiti artists. And then I became really good friends and have some friends now that I've had for like 20 years, you know, because of the graffiti scene. Yeah, so I've definitely been painting in Houston for a good time now, going on probably 15 years of painting with a spray can. And originally it was a lot of graffiti and got in trouble for it, had to pay fines and all that. And then eventually I realized that the city was willing to pay me instead of me pay the city. So then opportunities started opening up where people wanted murals on their businesses. It almost became like a must, you know, that you have to have a mural on your business if you want to attract people. So I did probably one of the largest murals that I did was downtown at the corner of Commerce and Main Street, and it is what's known as the birthplace of Houston. So I did a mural there called Produce Row to basically kind of pay homage to what was like the first farmers market in Houston. And then from that kind of just opened up so many more opportunities. Rice Box restaurants are probably one of my favorites and funnest clients to work with, and those are pretty popular around town. Then there's all kinds of other stuff where I work with all different types of different clients, also coffee shops, there's a new paleta place. So yeah, I've been trying to spread the work, and the more and more that I create murals, I think the more and more that people see them and see the effect and positiveness that it brings. So I have a show going on right now in the Galveston Arts Center called Fishing, Not Catching. And it basically revolves around one of my favorite hobbies that I also like to do, which is fish a lot. You know, just being an hour away from the Gulf of Mexico, I frequently come down here and make trips with friends to fish and hang out. So fish are a big inspiration to me, just like plants are. And I figured it was funny because I already kind of started making fish inspired work before Dennis had asked me to do the show. And then when I realized everything how it planned out, I kind of just kept going on that wavelength and figured it fit the vibe really well. So yeah, it's very fish inspired. You're going to see a lot of paintings that are digital collages where I kind of mash up different images of fish and create different kind of layers and movement. And you're also going to find a handful of collages that I call like my tape collages, where I use the byproduct of creating the paintings, which is the tape that I use to mask off. I then cut it up and rip it up and create these smaller compositions that kind of push a little bit more realism, but still have a very painterly and raw feel to them. So I have two paintings in the show that follow a signature look that I've been trying to do recently, where I do a custom shape cutout to the canvas rather than your traditional rectangle. And for these two pieces, which are titled the Texas Grand Slam, Caught and Uncaught, it basically focuses on three of the more popular game fish that you catch when you're fishing in the Gulf of Mexico: a flounder, a spotted trout, and your redfish. So if you catch all three of those in one fishing trip, it's considered a Texas slam. So I created both of these paintings where one of them, they're all caught and you have them on the stringer, and then on the other one, they're uncaught and you kind of just seeing them swimming around more naturally. So a lot of y'all have probably heard of artificial intelligence. Recently, it's been real popular in the media with ChatGPT and DALL-E, and there's a handful of other ones that are image-based. So I've been experimenting with the DALL-E program, which is the graphic-based one, for a few months now, and I've actually gotten to the point where I started inputting my artwork into it for it to kind of create and kind of give me other versions of my art. I feel like it doesn't really give me like exact versions, illustrations, but it kind of good for like reference material and ideas. So with this painting right here called Flounder Love, I wanted to use AI, and I gave it the prompt to flounder fish in love in the Gulf of Mexico in a tropical setting. So it gave me this rendering, which I then took this rendering and then pushed it through my filter to create this painting that we have here on the wall. So there's a cool cross by being a hybrid of a mural artist and a painter, because I get to at times do what I kind of call like installation work to take a painting and almost make it have the effect that it's busting out of its boundary and coming out of the box, and elements are coming onto the wall and spreading around. And so I got the opportunity to do that here at the Galveston Art Center with Flounder Love, to where it takes the painting and centers it on the wall, but then creates like a full mural feel where you have elements of in the water, and it kind of just gives it this flow. So I was able to do that on site, which was really cool. And also the at least the sunsets are pretty. Painting kind of sculpture piece. Also, I created it on spot with the fishing rods.
That was Duel, talking about his latest exhibition. It's called Fishing, not Catching. On view at the Galveston Art Center from March 4th to May 28th, 2023. You can learn more about this exhibition and the Galveston Art Center at galvestonartcenter.org.